Let's move on, y'all. All-Star Weekend was not too long ago, and I missed my opportunity to cook on it, right? So what I get to do is talk about Byron Scott and on his podcast, him and his co-host, they talked about it, right? And he had a message that he wanted to give Mr. Adam Silver, and this is coming from one of the OGs of the NBA, man. It's high tide that Adam Silver started listening to these dudes, man. So this is what Byron Scott wanted to say to Adam Silver, and I guess you can say this is his message to Adam Silver. And I hope I play the right one. Let me see.
Mr. Silver, I love you. I think you've done a fantastic job. But listen, this All-Star game has gone to shit. Players don't want to play. Fans don't want to watch. We trying all these gimmicks. Let's get back to the basics. Let's go back to 80s basketball. You got the coaches. You got the fan picking All-Stars. You got the coaches picking the reserves. They go out there. They play hard. Guys don't want to play. Find their ass. That's what we got to get back to. And you know what? Go back to the old rules too. Because I'm telling you, players will adjust, okay? But all this gimmick and all this other bullshit, we were just talking. It's 3 hours of watching TV with 40 minutes of basketball. Too much. People want to watch the guys play against the best in the world. Let them play against the best in the world, but bring it back to the old days. Get rid of all this analytical shit, and let's play basketball again.
It's called Byron Scott Fast Break.
So I like what he said. Adam Silver, get back to the basics. Stop adding gimmicks to the game, right? I want y'all to think about it this way, right? If the objective for the All-Star game is to get the best players that's in the league that year, put them on the floor to see them compete for bragging rights, we want to see a competitive game with a compilation of the best players. That's what we want to see. When basketball is involved, it's all about competition. Competition makes the game enjoyable to watch. That's the reason why people watch more NBA than they watch Harlem Globetrotters. That's the reason why people watch more NBA than they watch and one basketball. We want to see real competition with fair rules on an even playing field. Roll the ball out, go out and see who has the better team, the better player, the better coach. Let's see who can put all that together and win. So when it comes to the All-Star game, we just want to see the end result of when you put these best players on the floor and they go out and compete against each other, who's going to come out on top. That's the goal. The goal is for us to find out who the best is, who won it the most, right? It's the only goal. Show us competition and we're going to enjoy the game. Now they're trying to add all this other stuff to make it fun and all this. So we might as well go watch the circus of the Harlem Globetrotters if we want all these gimmicks. The gimmicks are not necessary, right? If I lay my girl down and I want to satisfy her, man, you don't have to bring in all these toys and beads and gerbils and all. Like if you got to do all of that just to get her to her, you get what I'm saying, to her climax, then hey man, something ain't right. Right? If you just can't roll the basketball out and say, here's the best in the East, the best in the West, go out here and get the bragging rights for this season. East versus West, best versus best. You know what I mean? You got Kobe on one side, you got LeBron on the other side. You already know that's competition. They want to prove to each other what they, saying, hey, look, I get to get you on this daggone stage, and I get to, the rules are a little bit relaxed, so I get to cook you. I ain't gotta run fields, triangle offense, and none of that. I can do my thing. Come guard me. Right? That's what it's about. When you adding all these gimmicks, that's letting you know something ain't quite right. You show up to a girl in the hotel room, it's candles everywhere, and I got freaking Don Julio, a honey pack, Viagra, a sex bead, a rose, a bullet, a chain, a gerbil, some syrup, strawberries. I got all of this stuff, and all she want to do is just get off. And I got to do all of that. That's what you're doing. You're oh man, celebrity game, and oh, let's break it up and let's let Shaq and them pick a team and let them compete. And then oh, you know what? Let's do world versus the USA, and let's do, oh man, let's bring in the females to do a 3-point contest against Steph, and all of this crazy stuff, insane stuff. Well, all you got to do is just get the best players and throw them on the court and keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Just simple. Keep it simple. Compete. It's not called for. You know what I mean? If you can throw that thing, throw good thing. You don't have to show up with all this extra stuff. I mean, it's overkill at this point. But keeping it with the All-Star, right? Why is it sucking so bad? Why is it so bad? Brendan Haywood, he had something to say about it. I'm not gonna play what he said because I think it's kind of more impactful what Mike Wilbon said on his show as a response to what Brendan Haywood said. But basically, Brendan Haywood said the reason why the All-Star game sucked is because the face of the league and the leaders of the league let it die. And I talk about that all the time. We talk about this era. We talk about it being LeBron's era, KD's era, Steph Curry's era. And we talking about all the things that come with this era. And when you really think about it, it's a lot of things that died in the NBA during this era. Competition died. All these players want to team up and play with each other instead of going to go prove that they're better. Like, I would love to find out who the king of the East was when Cleveland had LeBron, Melo came over to New York, and Wade was in Miami and Bosh was in Toronto. It would have been nice if Wade, Bosh, and LeBron didn't team up and beat up on Carmelo. Because if Carmelo, Wade, Bosh, and LeBron are all on the same level, let's put LeBron slightly above all of them. But if they're all somewhat on the same level, it'd be nice for all four of them to compete to find out who the best really was. Right? So, but that we couldn't find out if Wade was better than LeBron because they never competed against each other enough for us to determine it. They teamed up. We couldn't find out if Carmelo was better than Wade, Bosh, or LeBron because all three of them teamed up to go against Melo. He never got to prove it. Right? It would have been nice to know that. So, but in this era, competition definitely died. In this era, the big man died, the post game died, the mid range died. The MVP award died. Like, we don't even know what the MVP is anymore. The All-Star game died. The dominance we had over the world in the Olympics died. I mean, we took home some bronze medals a couple of times. Now they saying that the gap is almost closed on the world when it comes to the Dream Team. Defense died in this era. One more thing died. And I want to say definitely defense died. It's just a lot of things in this era that died, and you got people like LeBron to blame for that. All right, and that's what Brendan Haywood is saying. The All-Star game died, and you got to look at people like LeBron. This is what Mike Wilbon responded.
Longtime NBA center Brendan Haywood has a theory as to why the event has been struggling. Quote, the face of the league sets the temperature. Michael Jordan set the standard because the standard was set before him. with guys like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. You know when the quality of the All-Star game really started going down? When Kobe Bryant retired. He held up the standard. No one's running with it right now. Everybody's running from it, and that is the problem, close quote.
What a shot this is at LeBron James. When you say the face of the league, LeBron James has been the leading face of the league for 15 years at least.
Steph Curry?
No, LeBron James.
Kevin Durant?
No, they're there. LeBron James. This is a complete shot at him. And he didn't play in the All-Star game a couple of days ago, and he was a late scratch. Boy, it's a shot at LeBron.
Every syllable that came out of Brendan Haywood's mouth is right on the money. I don't care who the face is. This is true. The All-Star game stinks.
That's no good.
It embarrassed the commissioner of the game last year, but he does not have the power, the leverage to get the players to play hard. And those players want the viewers and the patrons and the networks to care more about what they do than they care. That's garbage. And it moved to garbage.
Yeah.
So last year, there was so many complaints about how bad the All-Star game was, right? And it got so bad that before the All-Star game, Adam Silver, they had it in Indiana. So they bring in none other than Larry Legend, Larry Bird, the hick from Cowlick, Mr. Indiana. He comes in and talks to the East and the West All-Stars just to give them a pep talk on how important it is for them to go out there and actually compete for real. What the All-Star game means, what it means to be a face of the league, and all these things. He went in and gave them a pep talk. And all I remember last year, because I did a show on this, is they went out there and stunk up the court so bad last year that even after the game, Obama was on a podcast talking about how bad the All-Star game was, right? So I remember Larry Bird talked to them before the game. But Stephen A. Smith gave us some insight just a couple of weeks ago about how the players told him that as soon as Larry Bird gave him that pep talk and walked out of the locker room, LeBron James gave the look to everybody like, man, we're not doing that nonsense, man. French lick. Okay, not cow lick. Cow lick is when your hair. Hey, thanks, Jeff. But so LeBron, according to Stephen A. Smith, gave everybody the look like, we're not doing it. We ain't going out there to get hurt, and we ain't competing. Man, go out and do, man, whatever, man. Go out there and suck it up again. You know, this is the face of the league. This is the leader. Right? I don't know if that's true, but it sure do sound like it is. It sure do make a lot of sense. Right. So you can't dissolve yourself as the face when it's convenient. Like, this is your leadership that's leading the NBA to this slow death. Right. That's what he's doing. So I don't blame Brendan Haywood for calling it out and saying that when Kobe Bryant left the game, he was the last of a dying breed. That's what Dominique Wilkins called Kobe Bryant, the last of a dying breed. They don't make them like that no more. Here's the GOAT talking about his mentality when he was a player and why he can't coach in this era.
I have no patience for coaching. My biggest problem from a competitive standpoint is the focus of today's athlete and the focus of where I saw the game, how I pursued the game. It changes and it's totally different. For me to ask that individual to focus on the game the way I played the game, in some ways would be unfair for that kid to have to endure that. And if he didn't do it, no telling where my emotions would be. I don't think I would have the patience for it. So in essence, coaching is something that I've never really felt I could do from an emotional standpoint because I'm much different and I have a different perception about things than what the kids do today.
He said his mentality and how he approached the game and how he played the game, it'd be unfair for him to have the expectation on these kids in this era. So he recognizes that after a couple of times of trying, I've been a team owner, I've came down from the press box or from my office. I've put my uniform on, my gym clothes, and came down and played some of my players that play for my team. And what he's seeing around the NBA is that mentality that he had, that Magic had, that Bird had, that Dr. J had, got passed down to Kobe. It didn't get past Kobe. It stopped at Kobe. A lot of people have said that. And he's saying, look, it is unfair. It would not be fair for me to expect a player in this era to act like I did, to approach the game the way I did. It's just not fair. So I would never coach because I don't think I can get that out of them. And if I can't get that out of them, there's no telling what my response is going to be to that. So smart for him to recognize I just can't pull it out of them. So let me just stay out of coaching. I just can't do it. I would be frustrated, right? That is a sad, sad state of affairs for the NBA because you got people leading your league, being the face of your league that are not real competitors. Your best player that you call on GOAT level, that you call the face of the league, that you call the best in this era, this guy hated competing so bad that he joined the guys he was supposed to be competing against to form a super team so he can go and beat someone that he claimed that he was better than. You claim you better than Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, Garnett. You claim you better than Carmelo. You claim you better than Kobe and all of these guys. You claim you better than Dirk, but you needed a super team to beat them, and they didn't have a super team. Dwight didn't have a super team. Melo didn't have a super team. Gilbert Arenas, Paul George, DeMar DeRozan, they did not have super teams. Derrick Rose did not have a super team. Chauncey Billups and Rasheed Wallace did not have a super team. Those were your competitors in the East. You were already better than them. You were better than Gilbert. You were supposed to be better than Wade and Bosh and Amari and Carmelo, all in the East. You was better than Paul George. You were supposed to be better than Dwight Howard. These are all the guys in the East. You were supposed to be better than DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry. You're better than those guys. Why did you need to team up with two of them to go and beat the guys that you better than? That's not competition. That's not competition at all. You took the easy way out, right? And that's his mentality, and that's why losing follows him. That's why when he do it the natural way that Kobe did it, that Mike did it, when you do it that way, you lose. When you go to the Olympics and do it the right way, you lose. You come back with bronze. You lost 6 times in the finals. It's a lot of losing that follows you. You take shortcuts. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. So you got to go through the grind if you want to impress people. I'm still impressed by some of the stuff that LeBron has done, but you can't compare it to things that are more impressive. You can't compare it to how Kobe did it or how Mike did it. It's more impressive the way Mike did it. It's more impressive the way Kobe did it, Tim Duncan. That's more impressive, right? It's less impressive to team up, team hop, and build super teams. That's less impressive.